This week, burn baby burn, from the burning path that passes through each state that signs onto the 13th Amendment, to the burning of bridges in our international affairs as we attempt to balance the war with the world, and of course Sherman's burning of the earth that he walks on. Straight to Sherman, the 11th engagement at Aiken, South Carolina, a small skirmish that has become a major battle in a culture war. Same is true with the action at Conagry Creek on the 15th. Both of these are futile attempts to prevent the inevitable fall of Columbia, with Mayor Thomas Goodwin more than willing to surrender to Sherman, the higher-ups in Richmond already planning an evacuation, and the troops themselves enwrapped in the air of defeatism, only the generals Wheeler and Wade Hampton wishing to prolong the loss. The rebel regiments begin to burn down infrastructure, but the lack of transportation means any attempt to destroy supplies would have to be done in the streets, including the very flammable cotton. While recently promoted Lieutenant General Hampton realizes what this would mean, the order to stop doesn't reach the right people, and in between houses, the blazes begin. In addition, Sherman's barrage of Columbia involves explosive shells, further igniting the once proud capital. Starving citizens become pillagers, ransacking the commissary and supply stations, accidentally igniting the powder at the railroad. This midnight mistake awakes the leaders, and the mayor runs to raise the white flag, but is stopped by Hampton. Military matters call, and the lieutenant general rides to his defensive line. The enemy have crossed the Rubicon, and general retreat is ordered. The mayor is finally allowed to surrender to the smoldering ruins. Morning of the 17th, Goodwin finds the advanced federal force, and Columbia is returned to the Union, not as it left. Noticeably empty is the barrels of alcohol and the wineries. Some retreating rebels had embraced the opportunity, and all that was left was taken by the residents, who wished to placate the oncoming blue boys, offering them ethanol of all sorts. General Stone officially negotiates terms of surrender, which become unconditional. But in the chaos, the news travels slowly, and the Confederate rearguard engages the vanguard of Sherman. Infuriated, the mayor and aldermen are held at gunpoint. And if a single soldier becomes a casualty, they are to be shot. Luckily, the Confederate cavalry is dispersed. Stone begins to call for the destruction of liquor, an order that is never fully completed, at least not in the way he wanted. Hail Columbia, happy land, if we don't burn you, I'll be damned. What a great song. The drunken mob of Union soldiers sober up enough to enter the state capitol. Other local landmarks don't receive the sober treatment, and inebriated men burn down Hampton's home and other residences of high-ranking rebels. No matter how you feel about Sherman's culpability, which is still highly debated, everyone can agree his preferred chaos is by his order. His corps commanders order drunken soldiers put under guard, and to stop this maddening blaze. Back at the State House, John C. Calhoun's statue goes missing, and a vote to repeal secession passes. Union anger soon turned on former slave owners, though of course some is directed towards former slaves, including a murder. Adding to the deaths, 2 tipsy men are executed by their officers for what crime specific I don't wish to say. Sherman continues to stop the spread of fires wherever he is, as do all of his subordinates, but wherever they aren't, the rank and file either ignore or support the blaze. Just to go a little bit into next week, the winds died down around 2 or 3 a.m. on the 18th, and after hours of destruction, firefighting brings the burning to an end, to a federal loss. Not to the rebels, but to the Apache. At Fort Buchanan, the California Cavalry Company was overrun. Back to the east, where things are looking far better, General John Schofield begins his advance on to Wilmington, as David Dixon Porter's naval guns open fire. General Jacob D. Cox leads his division against Cape Fear, threatening Confederate Commander Hagood. Turning to Congress, we see a first, as Minister Henry Garnet becomes the first black religious figure to give a sermon to the House of Representatives. The same day, the Senate certifies the electoral vote, as Vice President Hannibal Hamlin diligently counts the ballots kicking him out of office, ensuring Lincoln's second term. With his victory secured, Lincoln goes to his most common task of getting the military to stop messing with civilian affairs.
Why cannot order as within requested? Allow me to say that it is my wish for you to relieve the people from all burdens, harassments, and oppressions, so far as is possible, consistently with your military necessities, that the object of the war being to restore and maintain the blessings of peace and good government, I desire to help and not hinder every advance in that direction.
But what about foreign affairs? In 1864, some rebel raiders entered Vermont from the British Empire up north. In response, we have been building up forces on the border. Foreign Secretary Lord Russell protests the buildup, but words are as far as it goes. On an issue concerning the British, the Senate rejects any responsibility for Confederate debts. When the rebellion ends, their IOUs will become paper. Ending the week with the 13th Amendment, Indiana, Nevada, and the reconstructed government of Louisiana sign on, bringing the total to 16 of the 27 needed. Sickles time. While we know his purpose in Panama is to ensure the safe passage of Union trade and troops, other papers believe his task is for the creation of a colony of free men, which Sickles doesn't contradict publicly, wishing to keep hush-hush, but tells President Caliancha that colonization isn't even wanted. One freed man, invaluable to us in a military as well as in an economic point of view. That's where the week ends, and let's focus on Columbia. Sherman didn't want this carnage, but he does a terrible job of condemning it. Generals like Oliver, Howard, and Logan took efforts to stop the burning, but will be remembered for brutality. The terrible series of events will permanently seal the image of the devil Sherman and his Demon Corps commanders. The fall of Columbia is twofold. First, the military use of the city is ended as supplies are seized or destroyed, and terrifying the rebel troops. This made Sherman the devil, and you can't beat Satan. Hi, it's Jonathan Teagan, the entire Civil War Week by Week team. I'd like to thank you as we enter the new year, and as the last couple months come counting down. It means a lot, and I know we are all excited to see how this war ends. I hope you come along for the journey, and I hope to really see you next week.